Hello, this is Max. A mysterious girl appeared among people, wild and unable to speak, terrifying the local residents. Don't forget to subscribe. The eerie horror tale commences as a mother and her young daughter venture into the depths of the Swiss Alps on a mushroom hunting expedition. While carefully scouring the area for mushrooms, the young girl stumbles upon a peculiar sight, a radiant beam of light emanating from a mysterious boy. Intrigued, the boy signals for her to approach a cluster of mushrooms. As she collects these newfound treasures, she makes a horrifying discovery. Concealed among the mushrooms are skeletal remains, prompting her to unleash a scream of fear. The local authorities swiftly arrive at the scene and begin investigating the enigmatic puzzle surrounding the source of the skeleton. Upon a thorough examination, it is revealed that a man had tragically perished in that exact location nearly 30 years ago. Hoping to uncover the true identity of this mysterious person who guided the young girl, one of the police officers presents her with a set of photographs depicting missing boys. Without hesitation, the girl points to the picture of the boy she had encountered, a young boy named Albert, who had been reported missing in 1975. However, the police officer, still grappling with disbelief, contemplates the possibility that the girl had indeed encountered the ghost of the boy. Observing the officer's doubt, the mother shares a story about a different police officer who staunchly refused to believe in anything supernatural. The narrative then shifts to 1975 in Gries in Alp, Switzerland, where a crowd, including the local police officer Sebastian Roush, gathers around the village church upon discovering a young priest dead inside. After a thorough examination of the evidence, it turns out that the priest committed an unthinkable act. Subsequently, the villagers interrogate the local bishop and the authorities, seeking the motives behind his act. In response, the bishop attributes the tragic event to an ominous presence, such as the devil, that had infiltrated the priest's spirit and made him do it. Following the priest's funeral, while mourners walk towards the church, a young girl walking alongside Roush informs him of an unfamiliar woman trailing behind them. This woman, later identified as Sin and Tonki, appears dirty and dressed only in a shawl, shrouded in mystery to everyone present. Suddenly, the poor woman collapses, but Roush manages to catch her just in time and swiftly takes her to the police station. A doctor arrives and, after a brief examination, concludes that Sin and Tonki is suffering from amnesia, suggesting she be sent to a mental asylum. However, Roush opposes this notion due to his concerns for her well-being. Sin and Tonki's arrival sparks sparse rumors and suspicions among the villagers regarding her potential involvement in the priest's death. Furthermore, it becomes evident that she is unable to speak and can only communicate through gestures, further complicating her defense against the accusations. Later that day, Roush enters a pub with Sin and Tonki, searching for a place for her to stay. Teresa, the mayor's wife, informs him that the woman had been on Mount Thistle before arriving in the village. She presents him with a wooden carved goat, which she had accidentally left behind during their encounter. Teresa reveals that the goat was crafted by a man named Albert, and her brother, Owen, is currently staying with him in a cabin located in the Alps. She insists that Roush visit the cabin to ensure everything is all right. Now, the villagers suspect that the priest's death was not a suicide but rather a murder, linking it to this mysterious woman. They urge Roush to take her with him to the Alps instead of allowing her to stay in his house. Consequently, he confines her in a jail cell at the police station and proceeds towards the mountains. However, upon reaching the cabin, Roush discovers that neither Albert nor Wynne are present. He leaves them a message, requesting that they contact him and return to the village. Upon returning to the police station, Roush finds the local bishop waiting for him. The bishop points his cross at Sin and Tonki and claims that her strong aversion to crosses signifies her being a devil. However, suspecting that her upbringing might have been different, Roush angrily escorts the bishop out of the police station. In a flashback, it is revealed that Erwin and Albert received a visit from a man named Martin, who offered to assist with their household tasks. When asked why he was in the mountains, Martin explains that he needed to escape from the chaotic city life after a recent breakup. During a long night of being intoxicated and under the influence of absinthe, Erwin shares with Martin the intriguing tale of Sin and Tonki. In this story, three lowly herdsmen, longing for female companionship, create a doll using various household objects out of desperation. Surprisingly, the devil takes pity on their plight and transforms the doll into a beautiful real woman named Sin and Tonki. However, after the three men indulge in their desires with her, she turns the table and kills them, turning them into dolls like in a fairy tale. Despite being aware of the tragic outcome of the tale, in which Sin and Tonki kills all three men, Erwin and Martin commit a despicable act by repeatedly forcing themselves upon her. In one of these instances, Sin and Tonki bites Martin's hand, which later becomes infected with tetanus. Seeking revenge, she mercilessly slaughters all of Erwin's sheep and goats. The following day, Sin and Tonki disappears but is later found by Martin in the same barn. In an attempt to protect her from an enraged Erwin, Martin hides her in their storehouse, promising to return soon. In the present, Sin and Tonki is left in the care of the mayor and his wife, Teresa, while Roush is away. Teresa offers her blessed bread with a carved cross, but when Sin and Tonki sees the cross, she violently attacks Teresa, resulting in the death of her unborn child. The bishop starts investigating the villagers' claims, stating that Sin and Tonki is an incarnation of the devil, responsible for the recent death of the mayor's unborn child. To support his theory, the bishop presents a photograph from 1950 showing a Romani woman who bears a striking resemblance to Sin and Tonki. This Romani woman had disappeared 25 years ago and was suspected of arson and the deaths of 3 herdsmen in the same year. Later, Sin and Tonki appears at Roush's house, and in an effort to protect her, he decides to take her away from the village. However, before he can do so, the furious villagers discover him alone and unconscious in his car following a minor accident. Meanwhile, Sin and Tonki escapes, and the angry villagers turn their aggression towards Roush instead. Returning home that night, Roush finds a neo-pagan symbol drawn on his door by the church members to ward off evil. In that moment, he recalls Sin and Tonki drawing a similar symbol as a means of communication. This realization triggers suspicion that the bishop may hold crucial information about Sin and Tonki's origins, given his role in inciting the villagers against her. Driven by his suspicions, Roush goes to the cathedral in search of answers. Within the sacred walls, he discovers a hidden section of the chapel, a secret door leading to an underground chamber beneath the chapel. The chamber is adorned with 4 neo-pagan symbols and a non-Christian image of Mary, portraying her as a sun goddess in the Alps. Roush finds a straw doll and remnants of food, indicating that someone had been held captive there. At this moment, Roush realizes that Sin and Tonki had been held captive in that very cell and had even crafted a doll resembling her absent mother. He recalls how she reacted with distress when he locked her in the cell, finding solace in the presence of a familiar image of Mary when he gave her his chain. Additionally, Roush makes another startling discovery: Romani woman shown in the old photograph is, in fact, Sin and Tonki's mother. She had been harmed and impregnated by the bishop 25 years ago. Seeking safety, Sin and Tonki's mother sought refuge in a remote mountain house belonging to the herdsmen. Unfortunately, the bishop eventually discovered her hiding spot and heartlessly pushed her off a cliff to cover up his atrocious deeds. The bishop reported setting fire to the cabin, effectively ending the lives of the herdsmen. Meanwhile, Sin and Tonki's daughter was kept captive in the underground chamber from birth, enduring 25 years of isolation and captivity. Her inability to speak, feral demeanor, and fear of crosses were direct consequences of her captivity. It is also revealed that the priest assigned to care for her was actually her sole caretaker. The bishop falsely portrayed the priest's death as an independent decision, when in fact Sin and Tonki pushed him down the stairs during her escape from the chapel. With the bishop now arrested and imprisoned, Roush embarks on a journey into the mountains to find Sin and Tonki. In a flashback, Martin's condition worsens due to blood poisoning from tetanus after being bitten by Sin and Tonki during their altercation. It is revealed that Martin had committed a murder, taking the life of his ex-girlfriend, and had deceived Erwin and Albert to avoid detection by the police. As Martin succumbs to the infection, he confesses his crime to Erwin and adamantly refuses to be taken to the village for medical care. In an effort to provide him with treatment at home, Erwin instructs Albert to fetch absinthe from the storehouse, unaware that Sin and Tonki is being held captive there by Martin. However, upon Albert's entry into the storehouse, Sin and Tonki mistakes him for either Erwin or Martin and strikes him with a glass bottle, rendering him unconscious. Realizing her mistake, she tries to revive Albert but fails to do so. Meanwhile, Growing frustrated by Albert's delay, Erwin arrives at the cabin to retrieve the absinthe himself. Sin and Tonki tries to communicate with him about Albert's condition, but he ignores her and instead decides to set the cabin on fire using the absinthe. However, Sin and Tonki manages to escape through the roof. It is only later that Erwin discovers Albert inside the burning house, with half of his body engulfed in flames, suffering the horrifying fate. Erwin quickly rescues his nephew from the fire and carries him home. Unfortunately, despite his efforts, Albert tragically succumbs to his injuries. Sin and Tonki cautiously returns to the cabin but is discovered by Erwin. He proceeds to tie her up in an attempt to eliminate her, using a cross, convinced that she is the devil. However, the poor woman's fear of crosses intensifies the situation, causing her to scream in terror. Meanwhile, Martin hears Sennentunci's cries and approaches the door, witnessing Erwin holding a knife, ready to kill her. Spotting a nearby gun, Martin weakly intervenes, ordering Erwin to release her. He emphasizes that he will not allow another woman to die in his presence, especially after the death of his ex-girlfriend. However, Erwin defies Martin's commands, leading to a confrontation between the two. During the confrontation, Martin shoots Erwin in the arm. Finally complying with Martin's instructions, Erwin releases Sin and Tonki, dropping the knife to the floor. In an unexpected turn of events, as Erwin approaches Martin, Sin and Tonki seizes the opportunity, grabs the knife from the ground, and destroys it. Several days after these events, Roush finds Sin and Tonki alive and well in the cabin, and the two are joyfully reunited. Afterwards, she leads him to another part of the cabin and gestures towards a door, signaling for him to open it. However, upon entering the room, Roush is confronted with a horrifying discovery that churns his stomach, causing him to vomit. In response to the gruesome scene before him, it is revealed that Sin and Tonki has made dolls of the three men. This revelation fills Roush with both disgust and rage towards Sin and Tonki, leading him to relentlessly chase after her. As a result, Sin and Tonki escapes, closely pursued by Roush until they run so far that they become immersed in a dense fog. This causes Sin and Tonki to fall into a crevice. Roush runs after her towards the base of the mountain, only to discover her lifeless body and the skinned corpses of the three men from the cabin. Overwhelmed by a sense of responsibility and consumed by guilt over her death, he does the unmisleading act. Returning to the present, when the police investigators uncover the girl's skeletal remains, they finally realize that she was a human being all along and not a demon. If you are interested in such films, please proceed to the next video on the screen and also share your thoughts about this film in the comments. Give us a like and subscribe. Goodbye.